Hello, welcome to This Old Nerd Watches Blu-Rays. These are some recent ones that I picked up from Amazon and eBay. Uh, I'll start with I'll start with artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has been coming up lately in some videos, some people that I follow on YouTube talking about films or other YouTubers maybe. I don't know. It's just it kind of kept coming up a little bit here and there. I watched this when it first came out, and I remember really liking it. And I really liked the original DVD release, the big thick special edition clamshell. Uh, I I've wanted to grab that, and then I saw that this Blu-ray was only like I think $6 on Amazon, and it was it's pretty much the same. I think all the same special features and everything that's on the old DVD version. Uh, and I was expecting this to look really good, but this I think this must be an old release. I don't know what year it was released on Blu-ray, but I don't believe they've ever done a an upgrade of the video quality. Watching this is just like watching a DVD. It's got a DVD type resolution, even though it's a Blu-ray. You can see where if the picture had been sharpened to upscaled to 4K, it probably would have looked really good. The effects in this movie are incredible. Yeah, and I just rewatched this for the first time since it was originally released on DVD way back in 2001, 2 somewhere. Um, it- this is who Steven Spielberg. This is Steven Spielberg making a movie based on an idea told to him by Stanley Kubrick. This, I guess, was a movie that Stanley Kubrick wanted to do. Didn't think he would get around to it, maybe, or wanted to see it done by Steven Spielberg. I don't know, but I guess that's the story behind this, and it's a very cool movie. It's basically Pinocchio, an artificially intelligent little boy. He's a robot, and he goes on a fairy tale type journey adventure to becoming a real boy. And it's a cool movie. I don't know. I I didn't like it as much as I thought I was gonna like it. It's a cool movie still, but I didn't enjoy it the second time around, 20 years later, as much as I remember liking it. But still, I don't know. I'll probably get rid of this because I imagine someday there will be a version, an edition of this released with upgraded picture, so it looks really good. Because this could look really good if the video was upscaled to 4K. All right. What should I do next? Classic Ghosts. This just came out earlier this year. I saw it on Blu-ray.com. Um, Amazon was offering it like I think 50% off as a pre-order, and so I did that. I got into Kolchak the Night Stalker a couple of years ago. I'd never really watched it. I'd only ever heard of it, and it seemed like as time went on, you heard of Kolchak more and more as people cited it as influence on their works in horror and basically horror movies and horror television. I think one of the big ones was the person behind the X-Files TV show always cited Kolchak as a big influence. So I watched those, and those were great. The early 70s, there were 2 movies and then a half season of the television show, and they were all really good. Really enjoyed them. And this, I guess, is kind of an ABC, Saturday night at the movies type thing. Like they would do a weekly movie of the week, a television movie of the week, and this was part of these movies that are on this collection were part of this ABC early 70s. I think this is 74 when these came out. So these are 50 years old, just like me. Um, but they were part of a series of movies of the week anyway. They weren't called classic ghosts, but several of the movies in this series were by the same production team basically, who did this thing called the classic ghosts. And there's 5 movies on here, and they're all pretty decent. They're all shot on video. It's kind of like watching Doctor Who from the 70s and the 80s when they were shot on video, the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. It's kind of the same kind of feeling, the same kind of vibe, the same kind of look, that video look. And there's a really good documentary on here about how they rescued the old tapes, the old videotapes, and got them got them digitized so they could be on Blu-ray. A really good documentary on here. But there's Susan Sarandon. She's in the first movie on here. This has got to be like one of her very first roles. She's quite young in this. Perry King, for people that remember Riptide on television in the 1980s. It was a helicopter it was 2 guys. It was kind of an A-team type thing. These 2 guys had this helicopter and they went around helping people and whatnot. And Perry King was one of them. There's a bunch of familiar faces in these, but I just like these for the aesthetic, the nostalgia that you get, being old, being raised on television like I was, like seeing stuff from around the time that I was little. It brings back a lot of warm fuzzies. So that was really cool. I recommend that. This is a very cool movie. It came out in 1968. It's called The Witchmaker. Another Tubi find. I love Tubi, and Tubi is always putting this kind of stuff in the recommended for me lists, and so I gave this a try. I think maybe the thumbnail on Tubi was like a shot of the Witchmaker. This is the villain. He's the bad guy. It was just a really cool looking still of him. And I was like, okay, this looks cool. It looks Technicolor cool. And it is. It's Technicolor. 1968 it came out. Really, really good Technicolor. Deep, vibrant colors. This... It's called The Witchmaker. This character, the villain, this group of anthropologists goes to this island in Louisiana, this remote island where there's a cabin, and I even forget what they're researching. But anyway, this guy, he lives there on this island, and he's like a warlock, a witch, and there's several women in the group that come to the island, and he sacrifices some of them. He turns one of them into a witch. There's several scenes in here where I bet you, if you're an Evil Dead 2 fan, you might be able to spot this as well. But there's several scenes in this where I bet you this movie was an influence on Sam Raimi or somebody involved in the Evil Dead movies, because you can almost it's like almost the same kind of thing happening in this movie that you see 15 years later in Evil Dead 2. But this was a great find, and I didn't even think that there would be a Blu-ray of it, but there is. The picture quality is good, but they didn't really do like an upgrade on this either. But it's still, since it's old 16 millimeter, I imagine, film stock, it looks really good still. I mean, there's the lines down the screen once in a while, a little bit of distortion on screen, a little bit, but not bad at all. This movie looks really good because of the Technicolor and some of the effects, some of the physical effects, and interesting story even. So, okay, now here is this. Believe it or not, this is my favorite of the new things that I've watched recently. I got this on eBay. This goes for a pretty good amount of money. I ended up getting it for, I think, $20. It's got a tear here. But other than that, it's like brand new. And I've never heard of this. This just kind of came up while I was browsing, I think maybe anime movies or something. I forget how this came under my attention, but I just found this, I don't know, a couple months ago maybe. And found it on eBay, found somebody who had a good price on it and watched it for a while. Finally made him an offer, and now I have it. And I just watched it, and this is so good. Came out in 1985, 1986. Um, Excellent artwork, excellent story. Based on a manga. Um, the writer director of this movie, he'd done some other Japanese anime, uh, and he this was his original idea. And in order to pitch it to studios, what he did was he released it in their Ryu magazine. It's like a manga type comic magazine released in Japan. So he released this in installments in that, and that was like the presentation that was able to get the movie made, okayed by studio executives to make the movie. So started off as a manga, made it into a movie, and it's an incredible movie. It's 2 hours long. You don't look away from it once in that whole 2 hours. It's exciting adventure. Man, good stuff. Good stuff. Heroic myth, basically Greek myth type stuff. And I can't recommend this enough. Anybody who, I don't think this is streaming anywhere. Maybe it is, but if you can get your hands on this, do it, because this is worth your time. But yeah, those are my recent Blu-ray buys. Uh, all good stuff. All of it good stuff. Recommend every one of them. Arion especially. But if you know anything more about these, please comment it below. I'd like to hear the trivia on this stuff. So give me some comments, some likes, shares, and please subscribe. See you next time.